Thank you, Parikshit. So, welcome all, dear devotees. Today is our Sunday Feast program is starting up with the bhajans by Parikshit Prabhu. And next part of the program will be discourse by His Grace Prema Sindhu Prabhu. And many of you are known about Prema Sindhu Prabhu. And Prabhu is here in the community for almost close to 10 years now. And he started his Krishna consciousness career, Krishna consciousness path, spiritual advancement since 90s, almost like 3 decades. He is continuously practicing Krishna consciousness, and he started his life as a brahmachari in the Krishna consciousness way, and then he married to Mataji, Leela Manjari Mataji. They both are like a wonderful devotees, and they do all the kind of outreaches, book distribution, preaching, and every service they are very famous for and known to. Everybody knows in this Columbus city about them. Without them knowing them, nobody exists almost like in this path. So they are like so wonderful, and they are very famous. Prem Sindhu Prabhu does a Skype call every day in the morning from 4:30 a.m. and morning and evening they have a reading session, preaching session. It was like continuously he was doing 365 days a year, and it was being admired even by Amarendra Prabhu once he was here. So nobody can preach like Prem Sindhu Prabhu, like continuously, like all the days, rain or shine, whatever it happens. So he's such a wonderful and sincere devotee, and it is very fortunate for us to have his association today. And he will be giving a talk about Uddhava Gita today. So we'll welcome him, and Prem Sindhu Prabhu, please take over from here.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. The video is not seen, Prabhu.
Oh, okay, 1 minute, let me see. The video. Why it's not working? Can you see?
I think the background is too bright.
Is it?
Your face is not clear, bro. Just the background is too brightness. Maybe the window is open.
Let me see.
Yeah.
Is it better now?
Yeah.
It is the knowledge of sun that is shining from Prem Sindhu's rose.
Prabhu always makes fun of me. Okay, so we'll do little Jai Radha Madhav. Can we do? Or not? Huh?
It's all up to you, Prabhu. Whatever you want.
That way I don't have to speak that much. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Gopi Jana.
Some disturbance is there, Prabhu.
Let me start again. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Yashodanandana Bhajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Nachari Yamuna Tira Okay, so today is also a very nice day. I think Ramesh Prabhu told me last week that also the appearance of Madhvacharya is cooking a feast in the temple. So we are in this sampradaya called the Brahma Madhva. Actually, there is another one.
Prabhu, sorry to interrupt, Prabhu. Can you have little closer or something? The voice is too low.
Okay. Is it better now?
It's almost like same, maybe.
Maybe you had to speak a little louder.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, can you hear now? Is it better?
Yeah. Now it's better.
I don't know what happened. Maybe I need to close something else is open. Okay. I don't know. Let me quit some applications. Okay, so then, yeah, so today is the appearance of Madhvacharya. It is not Madhva, it is Madhva. There is another, if you look at the parampara in our introduction to Bhagavad Gita, there is Madhva and there is Madhva. There are two different personalities. So it is Madhvacharya. Is it not still okay?
It's better now, bro.
Okay. I don't know why it is. Maybe I need to change my computer. But anyhow.
Yeah, now it's better. Yeah.
Okay. So Madhvacharya. So we have Krishna, Brahma, Narada, Vyasa, and Madhva. So we are in this, we call it Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. So he is one of the predominant acharyas in our parampara, after whom this parampara is known. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took 2 points from each of the sampradaya, and from the Madhva Sampradaya he took 2 points, and the 2 points were First is defeat of Mayavad philosophy, and the second is that the deity of Krishna is non-different from Krishna. So the worship of the deity of Krishna and the defeat of Mayavad philosophy. Just like from Ramanuja Sampradaya, he took 2 points. One is the Ananya Bhakti, unlimited devotion, and Vaishnava Seva, service to the devotees. So it is said like that. Okay, I'm getting the messages. Speakers not working. I need to sign out and sign back. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I think he looks like he logged out and then logging back. So he'll be back. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Yes, bro. It's better.
Is it better? I don't know. Is it better now?
Yeah. This is perfect.
Okay. I'm using my phone.
Yeah.
So, Madhvacharya is one of the prominent acharyas as I was talking. And I'll talk a little bit about Madhvacharya since it is appearance day today. And we should remember our acharyas. So he's one of the. So I was looking up Madhvacharya in Prabhupada's books and some other speakers who have spoken about Madhvacharya, since I didn't know much about Madhvacharya. So it also helped me learn something. So Madhvacharya is an incarnation. He is actually a combined incarnation of Vayu, Hanuman, and Bhim. So all the strong personalities. So you can imagine how strong he would be. And as I was saying, Mahaprabhu took 2 points from the Madhva Sampradaya, and that is the Madhvacharya's teachings. That is the defeat of Mayavad philosophy and the establishment of deity worship. So Madhvacharya, the way they celebrate Madhvacharya's appearance is they call a Mayavadi to celebrate, and then they debate with him and they defeat him, and that is the victory for Madhvas. So Madhvacharya is often depicted like this with two fingers, emphasizing that the Jiva is an eternal servant of Krishna, and Jiva has its own identity separate from Krishna. So, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu preached the philosophy of Achintya Bheda Abhed, very harmonized, the Dvaita and Advaita philosophy. There is usually a friction between the Dvaitas and Advaitas. So our philosophy in the Gaudiya Sampradaya is called the Achintya Bheda Abhed, which means we are one with the Supreme, but we are also different. So Madhvacharya, he took sannyas at about 10 years of age. And it is said that in Madhva line, he wanted to preach the glories of Krishna. And until he took sannyas, he would not be able to accomplish that. So he wanted to travel and preach, and he wanted to. So he took sannyas when he was only 10 years old. And he was very determined. He was very strong, not only in his physical appearance and his strength, but he was also very strong in his preaching. So he performed many supernatural, we could say, pastimes, and I will just touch on a few. So one time, when he was young, in his previous incarnation as Bhim in Dwapar Yuga, Madhvacharya appeared about 750 to 800 years back from today, around time. But so he appeared in Kali Yuga, and in previous incarnation he was Bhim in Dwapar Yuga. And one time, Bhim was chasing a demon, and the demon escaped from the clutches of Bhim. So the demon wanted to take revenge. So he said, when I come again in Kali Yuga, he came again in Kali Yuga as a snake, very venomous snake. And Madhvacharya was a little baby, not too old at that time. And this venomous snake came, was a demon who had escaped from Bhim to take revenge. And Madhvacharya, with his foot, he crushed the snake's head. And I think it is mentioned that that stone where he crushed that snake's head, and that mark of that, crushing of the snake is still there on a stone somewhere. I don't know exactly the place. So he was very, and in his childhood he would play a lot. And so his teachers would admonish him, you are playing whole day, you're not studying. Look at your father, he's such a learned scholar. So one day they called him into the school, and they said, Madhvacharya said, I know everything that you are teaching. I know everything. And the teacher said, okay, tell me. And he recited everything. He was not attending classes, but he told everything that the teacher was teaching, and what he was going to teach also. That also Madhvacharya, as a young boy, he spoke, and his teacher was completely taken aback by this. One time they gave him, when he grew up a little bit, he had many disciples. And when he was very old at one time, he had like many disciples. So his disciples were like kind of, becoming proud of their strength and things like that. So Madhvacharya, in his old age, he wrestled with this 30 disciples of his simultaneously. He defeated all of them. So such was the power of Madhvacharya. And he ate at one time, he was given 4,000 bananas to eat. 4,000 bananas. Can you imagine? 4,000 bananas and some gallons of milk was given to him. And he ate them all. As Bhim's name is Vrikodara. Vrikodara means one who has a big appetite. So he had a big appetite, and he ate all of them. And he did not suffer from indigestion or anything like that. So this is showing Madhvacharya's, and when he was 10 years old, he took sannyas, and he took from his guru, whose name was Achyuta Preksha. This Achyuta Preksha, he was a Vaishnava devotee, but at that time, Shankaracharya's philosophy was very prominent, the Advaitavad philosophy. So he was also influenced, although at heart he was a devotee, but he was also influenced by the Sharik Bhasya philosophy of Shankaracharya. So he wanted to write his own commentary and prove that actually devotion to Krishna is the highest. So in those times, if you wanted to establish yourself as a great scholar and prove yourself, you had to write a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. So Madhvacharya, he took the blessings of his guru, Achyuta Preksha, and he went to Badrinath. Now it is described that there are two Badris. There is a lower Badri and there is higher Badri in the Himalayas. And he went, and Vyasadeva, who is one of the Chiranjeevis, there are, I think, 7 or 8 Chiranjeevis, and Vyasadeva is still living. it is described. Vyasadev, Ashwathama, uh, like that. There are different. Hanumanji is also one of the Chiranjeevis. So Madhvacharya, he to Vyasadev to seek his blessings, and it is described his journey to Adi Badri. It is very difficult journey, difficult place to go. It is high in the Himalayas, and to go there, it's very difficult for a mortal being. But Madhvacharya, he went alone. He had actually a disciple accompany him in the beginning. His name was Satyatirtha, and he was accompanying him. But it was a very rigorous climb into the Himalayas, going up the mountain. And so Satyatirtha was not able to keep up with Madhvacharya. So, and now they had traveled so far from the lower Badri, they had gone to the upper Badri, and they had traveled so far that he couldn't go back. So Madhvacharya did a miracle. He just waved his hand, and this disciple of Satyatirtha was transported to the lower Badri. And then he continued his journey alone, and he met Vyasadev. That's why we say, so our line is a Shiksha line. Although he was initiated, he took his sannyas from Achyuta Preksha, but he got his teachings from Vyasadev, Madhvacharya, when he met Vyasadev in the Himalayas. And there he spent so many days with Vyasadev. He found Vyasadev sitting with so many disciples, and there Vyasadev embraced him, and he enlightened him, and he gave him the blessings to write a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, which he wrote, and he came back and he showed to his guru, Achyuta Preksha. And Achyuta Preksha became so impressed, and actually he had some doubts. He was also influenced by the Brahmavad philosophy, the Mayavad philosophy of Shankaracharya. And when Madhvacharya showed him this, his work, it was called, I think, Purna Pragya commentary. And then he was also very impressed, and then he became like kind of his disciple, you could say. He was very impressed by Madhvacharya, who learned from Vyasadeva. So these are some of the Leelas. And Madhvacharya is also famous for establishing this deity of Krishna in Udupi. So the story goes like this, that Madhvacharya one day, he went to the seashore. That's the coastal area. And as he was in deep meditation, he was meditating on Lord Krishna. He saw a ship coming. And the ship was coming from Dwarka. And the ship basically in the ship there was a merchant who had brought his goods to sell from Dwarka, and he had come to South India to sell his goods. So his ship was loaded with valuable goods, but somehow at that time there was a big storm that came along, and his ship was caught in that storm. Madhvacharya was on the shore, he could see that, and the merchant and all his other assistants were trying to stop trying to keep the boat in balance, the ship, and it was not working. It was a very strong storm. And so he saw Madhvacharya on the shore, and he waved to him for help, as if asking for help. And Madhvacharya, from standing on the shore, I think he took out his chadar, and he waved his chadar in the air, and the storm subsided, and the boat came. A strong wind came and brought the ship on the shore. And the merchant realized, it is Madhvacharya who saved my life. And so he was ready to give anything. He said to Madhvacharya, you can take anything from my boat. I have so many valuables. Madhvacharya said, I don't want anything. But by the way, do you have Gopi Chandan? You're coming from Dwarka. Do you have any Gopi Chandan with you? And he said, yes, we have 2 big lumps of Gopi Chandan. And the Gopi Chandan was put on the boat to balance the ship, so that there is even weight on every side, so that the ship would sail smoothly. So they brought this Gopi Chandan out. Gopi Chandan is what we apply as tilak on our body. So they brought this out, and it was very, very heavy. Nobody could carry it. So Madhvacharya, he was very strong. So he himself, 30 people could not carry it. It's described something like that. So Madhvacharya himself took that whole thing in his arms, and as he was carrying, the chandan fell apart, and inside was the deity. And there was a beautiful deity of Krishna. And this deity had a churning rod in one hand and a stick in another. And this deity, then Madhvacharya installed this deity in Udupi. And that deity is still there. And there is a history to this deity. This deity was actually Rukmini's deity. When Krishna was present in Dwarka, it was actually Rukmini's deity. Because one time what happened, you know how overnight all the residents of Mathura were transported to Dwarka. Krishna created this Dwarka city and all the residents of Mathura. So Devaki and everybody came along from Mathura, and now they're in Dwarka. And Devaki told Krishna, Krishna, you always, I never got to see your childhood pastimes. It is only Mother Yashoda. Because you're in Vrindavan for 10.5 years or so. Jiva Goswami says that 10.5 years. Krishna was in Vrindavan, after which he left Vrindavan and he came to Mathura. So he was telling that, she was telling that, I never got to see your childhood pastimes. So, Krishna, can you please exhibit your childhood pastimes to me? I'm very much eager to see your childhood pastimes. So then Krishna, who was already grown up in the sense Krishna doesn't grow up so much, but he was like, he stayed for 125 years on this planet, but he was always like a youth. So he had queens, Rukmini was there, Satyabhama, and all the queens in Dwarka. And Devaki is asking Krishna, can you please show me your childhood pastimes? So then somehow Krishna became a little baby, and he created a whole scene. Krishna can do anything. And he started stealing butter, and he was on Devaki's lap, and Devaki was having very nice time, relishing. And Rukmini was also observing this. So Rukmini thought, oh, this is so enchanting. My husband in his childhood baby form. And this is Krishna's childhood pastimes are very enchanting. It is described in the Damodar Ashtakam. Iti driksvalilabhir ananda kunde swaghosham nimajantam akyapayantam tadiyeshitagneshu bhakterjitatvam puna premastastam satavriti vande. By such childhood pastimes as this, he's drowning the inhabitants of Gokul in pools of ecstasy. So Krishna's childhood pastimes are very enchanting. Rukmini got very enchanted, and she said to Krishna, I would like to worship you in this form as Bal Gopal. So she had a deity made of Krishna in Bal Gopal form, and holding a rod in one hand, churning rod and a stick. I think a rope. I think it's a rope and a churning rod in one hand. So like that, she made a deity, and this deity was then, years passed. This deity was, preserved, and then it was put in a garden, in a gopi kund, they say, where the gopi chandan is there, and the deity was forgotten for a long time. And finally, this merchant somehow got hold of this gopi chandan, which had the deity in it, and he brought it. So this Udupi deity is about 5,000 years old, if we were to go by the time. Krishna's pastimes happened about 5,000 years back. So this deity of Krishna in Udupi is very old, and it's worshipped by Rukmini in the beginning. And Madhvacharya then installed this deity. So that's another of his contribution to this Vaishnavism. Then one time when he was returning from, now these pastimes are not in chronological order, I'm just saying as I remember them. So he was returning from Badrinath. On his way back after meeting Vyasadev, with his disciples, they stopped at Kurukshetra. And Madhvacharya told his disciples that, Bhim used a mace, a very big mace to kill he killed all the Kauravas. And I can show you where that mace is, because he is Bhim. So he dug up some place in Kurukshetra and he pulled out that mace of Bhim that Bhim had used in Dwapar Yuga many years ago. And then he showed it to all his disciples and then he put it back. And then it was covered. And it is said that since then the mace has not been seen. But another time, as a small boy, his father had some debt. So his father, he was worried because he could not pay the debt. He was very poor. So this little boy, I think his earlier childhood name was Vasudev. And so he asked his father, who was Madhvacharya, Vasudev was his earlier name. So he asked his father, what is the matter? He said, we have to pay this debt. Otherwise, we will have to be, we'll be in big trouble. So then Madhvacharya, he went to they had a yard and there were some tamarind seeds. So he got some tamarind seeds in his hand and he meditated. And then he gave those seeds without opening his fist. He just gave it to his father. And his father said, what is this? These are some tamarind seeds. What is this? And he opened his fist and he saw, oh, they were valuable jewels. So the tamarind seeds had transformed into valuable jewels. He said, with this, you can pay the debt to that personality. So like that, Madhvacharya was some pastimes of Madhvacharya. And so, okay. And also today is the Vijayadashmi, Dashera. It's the day when Lord Ram defeated Ravana. So it is also called Dashera, the 10-headed Ravan who lost on this day. So Ravan was not getting killed. Ravan is also the personification of lust, because he was never satisfied with his wife, and he kidnapped Sita. And so this Ravana was killed by Ram on this day. So this is the nature of lust. So there is a Ravana in everybody's heart. Actually, when we come to this material world, we come out of our desire to enjoy separately from Krishna, and that is called lust. What is lust and what is love? That is described by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Atmendriya priti vancha tar balikam, Krishnendriya priti ichha dhare premana. The desire to gratify one's own senses is called lust. So when we desire to enjoy independently of Krishna, we come to this material world, and that manifests in the form of these lusty desires. And lust means desire to enjoy so many things in this world, and there is lust for power, there is lust for fame, there is lust, and the ordinary lust we know on the bodily platform. There's so many things. So it's called kama. So this Ravana is the personification of this lust. And Lord Ramchandra, with his arrow that he was given, the special arrow, he was trying to, this is Ravan, but Ravan was not getting killed. Every time he was trying to behead Ravan, then the heads were coming out and then coming back up. So all his 10 heads were remaining intact, and Ravan was not getting killed. Finally, I think the sage Agastya Muni had given him some mantra, and he chanted this special mantra. What was the mantra called? Anybody remembers the name? Something.
Aditya Hridaya.
Aditya Hridaya. Yes, thank you. Navin Krishna Prabhu knows. So everything. So Aditya Hridaya mantra he chanted, and then with that arrow he pierced Ravana's heart, and he was dead. So it is said that we have our karma in the heart, and if you want to get rid of this karma, then we have to use that special mantra that is given by the Guru, and coming in the disciplic succession. And then special mantra is, anybody's guess? What mantra is?
What is the question? Sorry.
No. The special mantra. The special mantra to destroy that lust in our heart is the
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maha.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So if we chant this mantra every day very nicely, very attentively, then all the Cheto Darpana Marjana, all the demons in our heart will be vanquished. So it sounds very simplistic, but the more we have faith in the mantra, the more it works. The more we have the faith in the power of the holy name, the more it works for us. So Maha Mantra is all powerful, and it is non-different from the Lord himself, and he can destroy all the demons like Ravana in our heart. So that is also another some remembrance on this day of okay, so now we will talk about Uddhava Gita. The way I can share my screen, I don't know. This phone, I don't know. It's very difficult. Okay, I'll just talk then. I wanted to share something from Bhagavatam. So Uddhav, how much time we have? 12:05. Okay. So Uddhav was a very confidential associate of Krishna. Just like now, something about Uddhav Gita. Just like we have Bhagavad Gita spoken by Krishna to Arjun, we have Uddhav Gita spoken by Krishna to Uddhav. And Uddhav Gita is much more elaborate than Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is only 700 verses. But Uddhav Gita, I didn't count how many verses are there. Somebody knows how many verses are. But there it has many, many chapters. It starts in about 11th canto, 7th chapter, and it goes on till 29th chapter. So it has 23 chapters, or no, 7 to 29, 23 chapters. It has 23 chapters. And this was the final instruction Krishna gave to Uddhav before his departure. So if you have the Bhagavatam, you go to the 11th canto, and in the 7th chapter, Krishna speaks this Uddhav Gita, the message that he gives before his departure to Goloka. So Krishna was nearing the end of his pastimes, and he told Uddhav. Uddhav could sense that Krishna is going to depart. And Krishna had made a plan. Also, it is also described in the 11th canto, how Krishna had made a plan to depart. So what happened? One time, all the sons of Krishna, I'll just say in brief, Krishna, all the sons and the family members of Krishna, they went to a place of pilgrimage, and there all the sages had come. And this son of Krishna, Samba and others, they were like in a very playful mood. So they dressed up Samba as a girl, and they put they made her look pregnant, and they asked the sages, "Oh dear sages, can you tell if this if Samba is going to deliver a boy or is he going to deliver a girl? Can you please tell?" And the sages understood. Oh, they are trying to make fun. They're trying to make fun of us. The sages cursed. He said, whatever will come out of that is going to cause the destruction of all of you. So in that way, they became very, they're just trying to play some mischief and some joke, and here they got a curse. So when they got a curse, and they opened they had put some stuffing in Samba's belly, near Samba's belly, so to make him look pregnant. And then they opened it up, and then they saw there was a piece of iron. And now they were very disturbed that the sages had cursed. So they went to their father. They didn't report to Krishna. They went to Ugrasen. And Ugrasen was also very concerned. So he said, you make fine powder out of this iron club and then throw it in the sea. So they tried to make fine powder. They could make almost everything, but little piece, they could not grind it to a powder. And then they threw this little piece that was there and the powder into the sea. And what happened? This little fine metal piece that was still iron piece, that was still not able to be, powdered, it was swallowed by a fish. And that fish was captured by a fisherman, and then ultimately it was sold to a hunter by the name Jara. And that was the arrow that Jara used with that, the metal piece. And with that arrow, he shot at Krishna, thinking himself like that. We know the story. So Yadus, they fought, and this other powder it came on the shore, and it grew into some bamboos kind of thing, some sharp pointed of bamboos. And with that, the Yadus, they fought with each other and they destroyed each other. So this was the whole story that happened. But before this happened, Uddhav could sense that Krishna is going to depart. So he's asking Krishna that, if you are going to depart, I also want to go with you. I don't want to stay here alone on this earth. So Krishna said, no, you stay here and you travel. You basically become detached from everything. You travel all over the earth and preach. And I have not gone to Badrika Ashram. I could go everywhere. My mission is almost complete, but there is one place I could not go to. So you go there and you tell my message to all the sages who are there at Badrika Ashram. Uddhav said, I am not very qualified. Although Uddhav was very qualified. Uddhav was actually very confidential. He's the highest devotee of Krishna outside Vrindavan. In Mathura, he's the greatest. And Krishna would often consult Uddhav for everything. Like he would take his advice. And he also sent Uddhav to Vrindavan with a confidential message for the gopis. So Uddhav was very qualified. But in his humility, he said, my dear Lord, I don't feel myself very qualified. You're asking me to become completely detached. And I don't think I can do this. And travel all over the world and, preach Krishna consciousness. I cannot do this. Can you please tell me, how? Can you please give me some instructions? How I will be able to achieve this? And that is where the Uddhav Gita begins, where Krishna tells a story. It's a history of his own ancestor, Yadu. Now, Yadu was the son of Yayati. And Yadu Maharaj, Yayati, in the 9th canto, we were reading that recently in our call. Yayati Maharaj, he was cursed by Shukracharya because, he had relationship with Sarmishta, and he was cursed by Shukracharya. Shukracharya had cursed him that you will become old. So Yayati became old, but he had still desire to enjoy. So then he pleaded with Shukracharya, whose daughter was Devyani. She said, no, I don't want to become old now. I want to still enjoy. So Shukracharya said, okay, if somebody will exchange your old age for youth, then okay, that's all right. Then you can become young again and you can enjoy. So he asked, he had many sons, Yadu had many sons, and one of them was, Yayati had many sons, and one of them was Yadu. So he asked Yadu, can you please take my old age and give me your youth so I can enjoy for some time? And Yadu refused. This is the same Yadu. Yadu refused. Why? Because in Yadu's dynasty, Krishna was going to appear. And Yadu didn't want to, become old at that time. So he said, no, I cannot do. Finally, one of the sons of Yayati, Puru, he agreed. And they exchanged the... So this Yadu, who was the ancestor of Krishna, and he's the son of Yayati, he was once traveling. What is the time? 12. Okay. He was traveling in the forest and like that he was going around. And he happened to come across one Avadhut. Now, Avadhut is a person who does not follow social convention. He's not very, he may not be very well behaved. And according to the social convention, he's not very acceptable. And people generally think that he's crazy. So we have Avadhut, like we call Nityananda Prabhu also as Avadhut. So they are completely on the transcendental platform. So Yadu saw this person and he was roaming around, but he was looking very effulgent. So Yadu asked him that normally I see in this world, everybody is striving for so much for material enjoyment, but I see you are roaming around carefree and you don't have any, as if you don't have any worry, you're free from anxiety. And I see that you're very spiritually advanced, because Yadu himself was very spiritually advanced. So we say in English, it takes one to know one, right? So a spiritually advanced person can recognize another spiritually advanced person. So when Yadu saw this Avadhut, he said, how did you become so spiritually advanced? Who is your guru? where did you learn all these things? You seem to be very carefree and traveling without any concern for anybody. Can you please share who is your guru? And then, because he submissively approached this Avadhut, then Avadhut, he started speaking because he knew that Yadu was also very eager to learn. So then Avadhut started speaking, and he spoke about his gurus. And that is where we start in the 11th canto, 7th chapter. He said, I have 24 gurus. 24 gurus? What are the names of your gurus? Sometimes we ask, when we meet somebody, we say, what is the name of your guru? Although generally it is not, Gaur Govind Swami says we should not ask this question like that. But who is your guru? And he said, he didn't say this person or that person. He gave a long list. He said, earth is my guru, ocean is my guru, mountain is my guru, tree is my guru, the spider is my guru, wasp is my guru, the pingala, the prostitute, is my guru, the arrow maker is my guru, the python is my guru, the honeybee is my guru. Like that, you can see the whole list in the Bhagavatam. He said, so the fish, the moth, the elephant, all this, they are my gurus. So Yadu was saying that, can you please tell me how they are your gurus and what you learned from them? So the thing is that if we observe the world carefully, we can learn a lot of things. The best way to learn is by hearing. The second way best to learn is by seeing, by observing others. You can learn so many things. This is called the analytical study of the world. You see things around and you can learn so many things. Like, for example, Krishna says, Mam upetya punarjanma dukkhalayam asashvatam. Now, we may not be in dukkha, we may not feel that this is, but you look around and you see how many people are dying, so many things are happening, so many people are in difficulty. And then it may not have happened to you, but by seeing others' experience, you can learn so many things. This is intelligence. They say experience is the best teacher, but only fools learn from it. But the third best way of learning is to experience ourselves. So like that, he said, I've observed many things in this world, and I've learned a lot from them by looking around. And he started with so many gurus. We cannot cover all the 24, but we'll look at few of them. So some of the few I remember. He said, I've learned from earth. So what I've learned from earth? Oh, this earth, looking at earth, what did you learn? I learned tolerance from earth. Why? Because the earth, so many people are doing so many things to earth. They are drilling holes into it. So much oil is coming out from the earth. They're destroying the environment on earth. And earth is not like just some mass. There is a presiding deity behind this earth called Bhumi Devi. Every planet has a presiding personality behind it. In Vedic culture, like in sun god, we say Vivashwan. A sun, according to science, is just a ball of fire. But there is a presiding deity. So in earth, there is a presiding deity called Bhumi Devi. And he said, I learned so much from this earth because people are doing so many atrocities on earth. They're killing other people. The soil of earth is soaked with blood because they're killing so many animals, so many slaughterhouses, so many wars are happening, so many forests are being destroyed. But still the earth is providing for the needs of all its children. We are all children. Earth is considered as one of the mothers. There are 7 mothers. And earth is considered as one of the mothers, right? Ado Mata Guru Patni, Brahmani Rajapatnika, Denu Dhatri Tatha Prithvi. It is described. Our original mother, Ado Mata Guru Patni, the wife of the spiritual master, Brahmani, the nurse, Rajapatnika, the wife of the king, and Denu, the cow, the Dhatri, the nurse, and Prithvi. Prithvi is also one of the mothers. So just as a mother, even though the child is giving so much trouble, but the mother is providing, the child may pass urine and stool while she's holding. the baby in her arms, and so many things. But the earth is still providing. The mother is still taking care of the child. So he said, I've learned from this earth the art of tolerance and how we should tolerate. So, so on spiritual path, if you want to move ahead, then you have to learn to tolerate. Krishna also speaks about this tolerance. Matra sparshas dukkanteyas, sitoshna shukha dukkada, agamapayino nityas tan stitikshashva bharata. The second chapter, he says that you have to tolerate. In doing your duty, Arjun, you may have to shoot arrows at your grandfather and guru, Dronacharya. It may be painful, but you have to tolerate. And Prabhupada writes in that purport that if you want to make spiritual advancement, you have to tolerate inconveniences. Just like for material progress, we go through so much inconveniences, so many exams we have to give, we have to study at night, and so many things. We go through so much labor. Why? Because for a brighter future. So if you want a brighter future, we want to go back to the spiritual world, we want to become happy in Krishna consciousness, we have to tolerate some inconveniences. And Prabhupada gives two examples in that purport, that in May, June, it's very hot in India, but still a lady will cook in front of the hot stove. It's not air conditioned there in India, like just giving it. Now here it's different, but the lady is cooking. She will not refuse to make a meal because it's too hot in the sun in the months of May and June. Or in January, February, it's very cold. So the man will still rise in the morning and for his spiritual sadhana, and he will take a bath in the early morning. Of course, in America, we don't have that inconvenience because we can turn the tap and we get hot water. But this idea of tolerance is very much essential because there'll be so many inconveniences and so many disturbances. Our mind will give disturbance. Vacho ve manasa krodha vegam, jiva vegam, udara pasta vegam, etan vegan yo vishaheta tira, sarvam apimam prithvim sasishya. Vishaheta, that this word vishaheta means tolerate. So we have the urges also. There's so many urges of the mind, the anger, the urge to speak. So we have to tolerate them. And some days we don't feel like, chanting. Some days we don't feel like doing something, but if we want to make a spiritual advancement, then we have to see the goal and tolerate all the inconveniences. This is called tapasya. Tapasya means, Krishna says, yagna, dana, and tapa. These three things are not to be given even by the great personalities. So this tapa, Rishabdev also says, Nayam deho deho bhajam niloke, kashtan kaman arhati vid bhujam ye, tapo divyam putra kayena sattvam shuddhayed yasmat brahma sokhyam tvanantam. He said, engage in tapasya for pleasing Krishna. It may be not, my mind is not, we are not spontaneously attracted to Krishna. So we have to engage in the process of sadhana bhakti. And for that, we have to tolerate. Mind says, no, this is not. When we chant, then our mind goes here and there and says, now you stop chanting, you have chanted enough. 4 rounds is enough. Now you keep your beat back down. So he said, no, I'm going to chant more. I'm going to chant. So this is pleasing to Krishna. I'm going to chant. So this is what he learned from the earth. Okay, what is the time? 12:23. We go on till 12:30, Sadhbhuj Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So just like if you are going to work, and somebody, we have traffic on the road. So somebody may sometimes, we have a red light and the red light is not turning green. But, you have to reach, you have a meeting and there's a lot of people coming in front of you. You have to tolerate the traffic. You cannot just, because you have to go to your work, you have to tolerate. You have a meeting, you have an important meeting to attend. So you have to tolerate. And because you have to reach. So in the same way, this is one of the qualities of the devotee. He remains fixed on the goal and he tolerates any inconveniences that may come. Titikshava karunika surida sarvadehina ajata shatrava shanta sadhava sadhu bhushana. Kapila Dev, as Dravida Prabhu says, sadhu sangashtakam. These 8 verses describe the qualities of a devotee. So one of that thing is titikshava. Titikshava means tolerating. Tolerating inconveniences for a higher purpose. And as I was saying, in material life also, we have to tolerate so many things. Otherwise, we cannot achieve anything. If we just go with the flow of mind, then we cannot achieve anything. So, okay. So the next example is, let's see, mountain. So mountain, what did he learn from the mountain? So the mountain, again, the same kind of, but he learned how to serve selflessly from the mountain. It is kind of overlapping with earth. But on mountain, there are so many, creatures. The mountain carries heavy load. There are trees, there are plants, there are animals. But the mountain is providing for, everybody so selflessly. And mountain and tree. So there are many trees also. And the trees also, they provide selflessly for others. So a saintly person should work for the benefit of others. That's what he learned from the mountain and the tree. That how the tree is providing, like we have the famous verse, Trinadapi Sunichena, Taroriva Sahishnuna, Amanina Manadina Kirtaniya Sadahari. So the tree providing for the benefit of all others. So similarly, human life is meant for the welfare of others. That is what he said he learned from this tree and the mountain. It is meant, we are meant to serve others. And what is the best welfare work? The best welfare work is to connect people with Krishna, connect the living entities with Krishna. This is the best welfare work. Prabhupada writes in one purport, preaching is the best welfare work. Why? Because it solves the problem at its root. When one gets connected to Krishna, then the whole cycle of material, this whole material tabernacle, as Prabhupada calls it, comes to an end. The whole problem is because we have turned away from Krishna. This is the root cause of all the problems. And so the best welfare activity is that which connects people to Krishna. And if we get connected to Krishna, then the difficulties will go away. How? If you chant Hare Krishna, then the sins are wiped out. Karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhajam. In the Prema Samhita it is said, Yastva indragopa athavendram ahosva karma bandhan rupa falabhajana matanoti karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhajam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Krishna says, if you take my shelter, sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam raja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshishyami masucha. If you chant Hare Krishna, if you take shelter of Krishna through devotional service, Krishna can change the karma for his devotee. Because karma is not acting independently. Karma is acting under the direction of Krishna. Maya adhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. The whole material nature, Krishna is saying, is working under my direction. So if we take shelter of Krishna, if we take shelter of Krishna and we help others connect to Krishna, then the whole problem is solved. So this is the best welfare activity. And it is especially said, those who have taken birth in the land of India, Bharat Bhumite Manushya Janma Hoilo Jar, Janma Sarthak Kari Karo Paropkar. And this Paropkar is giving this knowledge, distributing Srila Prabhupada's books, giving this knowledge out, talking to somebody others about Krishna consciousness. And in this way, benefiting others. So this is Krishna speaks a nice verse in the 10th canto. When he's come into the forest of Vrindavan along with his brother Balram, and he's observing all the trees, and he speaks of a nice verse. Etavat janma safalyam dehinami hadehishu praner arthir dhiya vacha shreya acharanam sada. One's life is successful, janma safalyam, when one works for the benefit of others. And how one should work for the benefit of others? With one's prana, with life, praner arther dhiya vacha, with one's life, with one's money, with one's intelligence, and with one's words. one should act in such a way for the welfare of others. So like that's what he learned from the tree. So how the tree is so selfless, because the tree is giving fruits and shade in the summer, and then in winter it gives us wood to keep ourselves warm, and so many things can be gotten from the tree, and how tree is so selfless. Of course, they've got the body of a tree because of bad karma that is there. Prabhupada also says that one becomes a tree because of unless you are a tree in Vrindavan or something like that. But generally, trees means it's bad karma. You go into the lower species of life. From human life, you go into the lower species of life. And then you come back again. But the trees are, very, we can learn from the tree in that sense. Okay, so that is about the tree and the earth. Now we can take one more, and that is the ocean. So maybe we can continue next time when I speak again. Maybe I can continue with the other gurus. Ocean. What is to be learned from the ocean? The ocean is still, even though so much river water is flowing into the ocean in the monsoon season or in the summer season when it's not flowing. It is still calm and it maintains its level because it's so huge and so much volume of water is there. So ocean, what did he learn from the ocean? That a self-realized person, so many desires may be coming into his consciousness. Krishna speaks this verse in the 2nd chapter. Apurya manam achalam pratishtam samudra mapa pravashanti yadvat tadvat kama yam pravashanti sarve sa shanti mapnoti na kama kami. He says that just like in the monsoon season, so much water is coming, and in the summer the rivers are dried up, not, but the ocean remains steady. Similarly, in the consciousness of a self-realized person, so many desires may come up because of our so many desires will come up. But Krishna says, "Sa shanti mapnoti na kama kami." That person can remain peaceful, like the ocean, who doesn't strive to satisfy all these desires. We have to analyze the desires. Are these desires very good for my Krishna consciousness, or they are not good for my Krishna consciousness? If they are good, we accept. Of course, I'm just speaking. One big disclaimer is that I'm speaking, but it doesn't mean I've realized everything. But this is what we can learn, and we can try to apply as much as we can. So many desires are coming in our consciousness. But we don't act on every desire, because if we act on every desire, it will create havoc in our life, especially if we are conditioned. So that's why we have to choose. And those desires that are not favorable, we don't act on it. That's what he's learned from the ocean. So ocean remains steady. So, and also the ocean is very deep. In the same way, a self-realized person is very deep in his consciousness. It's not superficial. It's very deep Krishna consciousness. It's very deeply Krishna conscious. So as you go deeper in the ocean, it is very calm and quiet. On the surface, there may be so many waves. But if you go like 5,000 feet, 15,000 feet below, then it is very calm. Whatever, I don't know how many feet it is up till the bottom, but whatever it is, you go below, it is calm. Similarly, the consciousness of a self-realized person is, because he's very strongly absorbed in Krishna consciousness, he's not affected by the disturbances. Krishna says such a person is eligible for liberation. Yam hina vyathanti ete purusham purusharshava samadukha sukhadhiram swamritatvaya kalpate. In the 2nd chapter again, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying that one who is samadukha sukhadhiram, one who is steady in both happiness and distress. Of course, that doesn't mean we don't have emotions. We can have emotions, but we understand that this nature of this world, and we carry on with our Krishna. They asked Prabhupada this question. Prabhupada, Abhimanyu died, he was killed. And Arjuna was lamenting, but Arjuna just heard the Bhagavad Gita. Yam hina vyathanti ete dhirastatra na muhyati dehino asmin yatha dehe kaumaram yovanam jara tatha dehantara. And his son died, and he's feeling so disturbed. How is that? The Prabhupada said it is not that devotee does not have any feelings. And Abhimanyu was a devotee also. So Narottam Das Thakur also has sung Jiya Nilo Prema Dhana Karuna Prachur. You have feelings for the devotees and things like that, attachment. But that did not stop him from doing his service. He didn't say, now I'm not going to fight, I'm just, Krishna, that's done. My son died. I forget your service. You can fight, you can do whatever you want in the Kurukshetra. I'm not going to fight. No, Arjuna still carried on with his service. There is feelings. So we can get affected in some way, but that does not affect our service to Krishna. So that steadiness, like the ocean, is what he learned. Prabhupada also told about, this Bengali widow in Vrindavan who used to come every day morning. When Prabhupada was staying in Radha Damodar temple, she would come every day with water from the Jamuna to bathe the deities. And many years back, when Prabhupada came, after he went to the West and he came back, he again saw the same lady come. Every day she was bringing water from the Yamuna for the deities. And he said, she's going back home, back to Godhead, because such a service for so many years, whether it was Vrindavan can get cold in the morning, hot, but she was steadily doing her service. So that is what he learned from the ocean. Then we will continue next time. So thank you very much. I don't know how much this is new experience on Zoom, because I'm not used to it, but stop here. Does anybody like to say anything?
I have a question.
Yes.
Can you tell me quickly how he got some lessons from the Python?
Python. Yeah, let me think. So Python, what is the quality of a Python? Python is very kind of not very active. It waits for its meal to come, and then it doesn't make so much effort. Of course, sometimes Pythons we see go here and there. But Python is like, if the food comes, he'll accept and he'll wait for his food to come. So what he learned from the Python was that, that material happiness and distress are two sides of the same coin. Just as nobody tries for distress. We never go to temple and say, Krishna, please get me into an accident. Krishna, please make me get cancer. Krishna, please make me fall sick. Krishna, please. We never say like that. But these things happen to us. So the other side of the coin is the material happiness. Material happiness will also come without our endeavor. This is a theme that comes in many verses in the Bhagavatam. So one should not try too much. One should not try too much to adjust. We should work. It is not like we have to become lazy like the Python, but we have to work to a certain degree, and we get whatever we are going to get. But the main focus should be on how to make spiritual advancement. Otherwise, of course, if you are working very hard for Krishna, like so many devotees are doing, they're working very hard, but they are trying to propagate Krishna consciousness movement, that's different. But generally, if you get too much caught up in trying to improve your material situation and you neglect your spiritual life, then that's not very good. So like the Python, one should be happy with what's of its own accord, and one should not be too disturbed about it. The goal should be on spiritual life, how to go back home, back to Godhead, like that. So that is what he learned from the Python. There is a nice verse spoken by Narad Muni. Tasyeva heto prayateta kovido na labhyate yadbramatam upariyada talabhyate dukhavadanyata sukham kalena sarvatra gabhira ranhasa. He says that in this human form of life, those who are intelligent, tasyeva heto prayateta kovido, those who are intelligent, kovida, they should try for that thing which they didn't get. Na labhyate yad brahmatam upariyada. Upari means up and ada means down. We have gone up and down in this Brahmanda Brahmite. We should try for that thing that we didn't get, going up and down in so many species of life. Because Other things we got. Krishna consciousness we didn't get. And then he says, Tal labhyate dukhavad anyata sukham. Just as dukha comes without your asking, sukha will also come without. It doesn't seem like that, because we think like if I work, then I will get so much and things like that. But just as dukha comes, so he says one should, in course of time, one gets dukha, one gets sukha. So one should remain equipoised and focus on the spiritual life and do your duty, whatever you have to do to achieve whatever you have to sustain yourself. But don't over endeavor. This is also called atyahar. Atyahar means over endeavoring. Over endeavoring. So when we over endeavor, then it is one of the obstacles to spiritual advancement. So Python, he learned that from the Python, and I think that is what it is. But let me check. I think that is what he learned from the Python. Yeah, it says. Let me see. O king, the embodied living entity automatically experiences unhappiness in heaven or hell. Similarly, happiness will also be experienced even without seeking it. Therefore, a person of intelligent discrimination does not make endeavor to obtain such material happiness. So that is what we learned from the Python.
Oh, thank you.
Is that making sense?
Yep.
Okay.
And that's what Uddhava choose for this Guru, 21 Guru, that is Uddhava, right?
Avadut Brahmana. He is Dattatreya. Actually, he is Dattatreya. He is the incarnation of the Lord. Avadut Brahmana has 24 Gurus, and he's explaining this what he learned from this 24 Gurus to Yadu, King Yadu. And this story is being told to Uddhav. Krishna is telling this to Uddhav.
Yeah, last year your Guru Maharaj gave a seminar in Ujjain about
Uddhav Gita. I was hearing that, so that's correct.
Yeah.
He has given many times on Uddhav Gita.
Yeah, and
So,
I have a question, like all the time here, like Bharat Bhumite Janma holo jar Janma Sarthak kore Paropokar. So Prabhupada one time mentioned Bharat Bhumi means the whole world is Bharat Bhumi, not like only India.
But
right?
if you look at the translation, the way it has been translated in the bracket, it says India. But actually, at that time, Bharat was much more, than, because this was spoken by Lord Chaitanya, I think, from 500 years back. So the boundaries of, that time it was different.
Yeah, and also Prabhupada, as I hear one time, Prabhupada mentioned that when Pashuram attacked Kshatriya, so some Kshatriya ran here and there. And they came to different Western country, and from there to their generation coming. Actually, there also. So, so Bharat Bhumi is not like little. It's like not only India. I think it is more expanded.
Everywhere, right? Yeah. And anybody, Prabhupada writes also, anybody who has received this message, who has got this message, it becomes his responsibility now to give this message to others. So it is not only for anybody who has got this message. If you look at that purport of Bharat Bhumite, I think in that he mentions that anybody who has received this message, it becomes his duty to give it to others. Whether you're born in Russia or wherever.
What is the message, Prabhuji? What you're saying? What is the message like Bharat?
That the message of Krishna consciousness. Anybody who,
because so many nice devotees also coming from Western country, right?
Yeah. So let me read the purport. This is Adi Lila 9.41. He says in that verse, this is not only the duty of Indians, but the duty of everyone. And we are happy, very happy, that American and European boys and girls are seriously cooperating with this movement. So he says that it is not only the duty of it's the duty of everyone who has gotten this message to give it to others. That's why we say preaching is the essence. So
thank you.
Okay. Sadhguru Prabhu.
Yeah, I didn't see any other questions being asked and no hands raised. Okay. I think everybody is okay with that.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much for your wonderful nectarian class. His Grace Prema Sindhu Prabhu ki Jai. So there is just one announcement. thank you all for joining today, and it was very nice. So many people have joined, and there is one quick announcement: is like tomorrow is Pashankusha Ekadashi, and we have 3 hours of kirtan organized by Ramesh Prabhu. So he'll be doing a live Facebook with all the kirtaniers. So please stay tuned for tomorrow evening 5 p.m. at Columbus Sankirtan Party group. So yeah, and we'll see you all next Saturday and Sunday. We have another regular programs. So we'll meet you again. Thank you all for joining today. Yeah, we'll just end the call by saying pranam mantras. वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. Thank you again. Hare
Shedpuji
Krishna.
Prabhu,
Yes, Prabhu.
today is Parikshit's birthday. Maybe we can sing a song.
Oh,
Yeah. Yes, Prabhu. I don't know. He's here.
Yeah, he was still here. He just now left the temple for darshan.
Oh, okay, okay.
On his behalf, yeah. Is it okay? Or I don't know. Having Krishna, is it okay?
Yeah, blessings is always blessings.
Huh?
Blessings of devotees is always wonderful. So whether he's there
Okay,
or
we'll
not.
sing Hare Krishna, imagining Parikshit's birthday today.
Yeah. No, it is birthday.
No, in the sense like he's not here.
He's
so.
here. Yeah.
and tomorrow my Prabhu birthday. He's one day smaller than Parikshit.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, then we're all same. I think Leena's birthday was 2 days back.
Oh.
So all same month. Okay, that's good.
Hare
So we'll sing for
All
Urukram
the
Prabhu
devotees
also.
together.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna to you. Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Leela Mataji, Parishit Prabhu and Virikun Prabhu.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
dear.
May you
Hare
never
Krishna.
take birth
to
again.
you.
May you all never take birth again. May you all never take birth
Take birth
again.
again.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna to you. Hare Bol.
Hare Bol.
Haribol. Yeah. Thank you, Prema Sindhu Prabhu. It was a very nice class. He left maybe. Okay, I was late. Okay.
Yeah, I think he left.